This lesson is looking at direct linear variation. So what that's saying is if y varies as x, or y is directly proportional to x, then y equals kx, where k is our constant value. So when we're solving questions like this, our first aim is to find k by solving an equation. Once we've found k, we can use that to find either x or y depending on what we need to know. So how to solve a linear variation question? We identify our two variables, x and y, and we substitute them into the formula, y equals k of x, or kx. We solve the equation for k. We rewrite that using k, and then we use that equation to solve problems by substituting. So the distance travelled d in kilometres varies directly to the amount of petrol p in litres. So we have our table of values here. So we need to find an equation for d in terms of p. So we write down our formula, y equals kx, and that is our direct variation or direct proportion. Our direct proportion formula. We then need to rearrange it so that we have the letters that we need for this question. So if you think about this being x and this being y, we just substitute in d and p. So d equals kp. So here all we've done is substitute in and this is so we can find k. All we then do is we pick a set of values from our table of values. Now, I like to work with our whole numbers, so instead of using this first one here that has a decimal, so D is 153, we're trying to find K, and P is 12. So all I've done is substitution. The next step is solve to find K. So if this is multiplying by 12, the inverse of the opposite is to divide by 12. And that will tell me that K, I'm just rearranging to put K on the left, 153 divided by 12 gives us 1275. So that's the first part, but it says find an equation. So I now need to rewrite this up into this equation here. So it becomes D equals 12.75p. That is my final equation. So what we then do when we answer questions, once we've found that constant and we've replaced it into our formula, we then use that formula to find anything else. So how far would you expect to travel on 15 litres? So we have our formula, which is D equals 12.75p. We substitute in, so P is the petrol, the litres that have been used. So 12.75 times 15, and that tells us I would be able to travel a distance of 191.25 kilometres. The last question says, how many litres of petrol would you use for 350 kilometres? So again, this is our formula. Oops. This time I want to find litres, so that's P. So 350 is the distance travelled, and it's 12.75p. So between the 12.75 and p there is a multiplication. So the inverse is to divide. I'm just rearranging to put p here. So 350 divided by 12.75 is 27.45 litres. So for 350 kilometres, you would expect to use almost 27.5 litres of fuel.